Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Friday Ramblings. I am David because I am the one who rambles. And we're going to sit there and dive into a little bit of video game fun. Franchise that I have been with since its beginning. And that is Animal Crossing. Now, for those of you who don't know much about video games, Animal Crossing is an open world social simulation video game wherein you control a villager who must build his house and pay it off, upgrading it over time. Or not, honestly. The game's so open-ended, you can stay with your silly little one-room tool shed if you want to. But traditionally, the main goal of the game is to get your house upgraded to the maximum size and decorate it however you wish, using money obtained by doing various fun little tasks such as digging up fossils, fishing, digging up fossils, fishing, capturing bugs, shaking down trees to find money just hanging out, smacking rocks with a shovel to find that one rock a day that's going to spit out a bunch of money bags, along with a couple other random quests and tasks. Now, the full breadth of all those type little fun daily life things does vary slightly from game to game because, hey, why make sequels if you're not going to change something up? Although, the base activities of fossils, fishing, bug capturing remain the same and include not just selling them for quick cash, but donating them to the otherwise empty museum so it's in itself can be completed and become a museum worth walking around and touring. The big thing with Animal Crossing that makes it stand out from a lot of social simulation games, such as The Sims, is that while your villager character is human, all the other inhabitants of the village are anthropomorphic animals, like you would see in classic cartoons. The museum is run by the Owl Blathers, assisted in sequels by his sister Celeste. The main merchant is a tanuki, appropriately called Tom Nook, who is assisted by his twin nephews. And you also have hedgehog fashion designers. Or no, excuse me, not hedgehogs, porcupines. Sorry, had a little Sonic sidestep there. But porcupine fashion designers and randomly assigned villagers that cover bears. Let's see. Whew. A little went to black there for a second. I was picturing the games and how beautiful and serene they are. But your neighbors can be things like bears, frogs, mice, cats, dogs. Oh, and let's not forget, speaking of dogs, the iconic KK Slider, a wandering musician who will show up in your towns once a day in the evenings, and if you listen to him perform live, you can even get a home copy of his jams to play at home once you purchase a stereo. Now, the themes you can decorate your individual rooms in your houses range from Nintendo icons like Mario, Zelda, to seasonal ones, and even holiday-linked ones due to events that occur during those holidays. I myself have always been fond of the Halloween motif ones, because as anybody who's been watching this channel for a long time knows, I love me some Halloween. Now, it is a relatively new franchise for Nintendo, having started in 2001 and consisting of 5 main games and 3 spin-offs. And those have come out on every major hardware release of this time. That is, originally the N64 in Japan, although an enhanced reissue was put out on GameCube, and that is the one that was released in America first. You also have the DS, 3DS, Wii, Hold on, I think I might have gotten that screwed up. Let me make sure I'm not. Yeah, DS, Wii, Nintendo 3DS, and Nintendo Switch. There was a spin-off game for the Wii U, so that system did get representation, even though it did not get a mainstream game, but that's okay, because, as I've always said, I prefer people wait until both the hardware and creative ideas are ready for a sequel. Don't just put one out on a system because you have a new system. So let's go for a quick breakdown of the Animal Crossing games. You have, in 2001, the original Nintendo 64 release of simply Animal Crossing. As we said, it did eventually get a enhanced re-release for the GameCube. That is, the version was localized and released in North America in 2002, Australia in 2003, and Europe in 2004. The extended version is referred to as Animal Crossing Plus in Japan, and it served as an immediate hit due to its open-ended nature, the wonderful designs of the animal villagers, and the fact that the game never puts any kind of time rush on you. You are free to pursue whatever goals you want whenever you wanted it. An interesting feature of the original Animal Crossing game was also that it contained within it the ability to find and place in your room demos of classic NES games. So there were games within the game. Woo! This feature would be dropped in later editions as more things were presented to do in the town itself. You also got, for the Nintendo DS in 2005 for Japan and North America, and actually everywhere, well, in Australia, early 2006 for Europe, Animal Crossing Wild World. This was the first game in the series to use the Nintendo Wi-Fi connection, allowing you to visit other villages. This would prove an important aspect for the future of the Animal Crossing game series, as players could now look at each other's villages and trade items back and forth. Thus, things that were available in one town's randomly generated shop inventory could be obtained even if they weren't available in your village, as well as the fruit, because in the original setup of your village, you have one native fruit. However, by visiting villages that have different native fruits, you can spawn a whole series of fruit crops, and the non-native fruits are also worth more money when you resell them in the shop. We then got Animal Crossing City Folk, known as Animal Crossing Let's Go to the City in Europe and Australia, on the Wii. Released in North America in late 2008, as well as Japan. Australia getting it about 3 weeks later, along with Europe. It was about a day difference. South Korea did not get it until 2010. It was the first Wii game to utilize the Wii Speak, an accessory that allows players to talk to each other during online play. Finally, we got, well, not finally, but next we got Animal Crossing New Leaf, which was released for Nintendo 3DS in Japan in late 2012, North America about mid-2013, which Europe and Australia got it about a week after America. And for the first time in the series, players are appointed to the role of mayor, meaning that they have much greater influence on the growth of the village. On November 16, 2016, a new update was released entitled Welcome Amiibo, adding several new locations, items, and activities centered around Nintendo's Amiibos, which, again, for people who don't know video games, they look like little collector figures. In fact, in just a second, I'm going to go fetch one. Welcome back, folks. As we said, the amiibos are this. This is, in fact, from the Animal Crossing specific series, the aforementioned KK slider. Had to make sure I got one that would really fit the theme of our game. See, his little stand looks like the little grass he sits on when he plays. Got his guitar. And inside the base is a small little bit of computer chippy goodness. Such a good doggo. Who's a good doggo? Huh? Who's KK good doggo? And when you place this on the 3DS, or the Wii U, or the Switch nowadays, it unlocks extra features in the game, and you can even save data to the stand, which allows for wonderful opportunities depending on the nature of the game. Okay, you sit down here, doggo. You stay safe. This, of course, brought in a lot of wonderful new features to the game right about the time that players were starting to make serious progress in finishing up their goals, and greatly extended the life and variety of activities to the game. However, that would not be enough for the Animal Crossing series, as we would get Animal Crossing New Horizons, which was released worldwide on March 20th, 2020, though its initial release was planned for 2019. Quickly became the first console to reach 5 million digital sales within a month, with the high sales often attributed to the social distancing and stay-at-home orders during the COVID-19 pandemic, which I know we generally try not to mention around here, but we're going to say it once in quick passing. Soon after its release, the game became one of the few in the series to receive additional content post-launch, with future editions still rumored to be on their way. You see, you mention a virus and you gotta sneeze. It's all in your brain. It's all psyching yourself out. Think healthy. Think healthy. Bless me, KK. I need your power. Good doggo. This, of course, would bring us up to the main series releases. And while I personally have not played New Horizons due to the fact that, as stressed in previous videos, I do not currently own a Nintendo Switch, since there are so many things that consume my adult responsibilities life, I have such a huge backlog of games between my PC and 3DS and Wii U that, I mean, I'm still trying to play catch up. You know, I can't, you know, as much as I love the Animal Crossing series, I can't justify buying a whole new system to play a game, especially one that technically never ends and has daily things to do. Enough of those problems on my tablet, the handful of casual games I play. You know? You got to make those decisions when you're an adult. But regardless of that, I do still support the Animal Crossing series. And it's wonderful, easy to pick up and figure out how to play, but never technically runs out of things for you to do nature. Now, one of the other big features about Animal Crossing I have not mentioned, and then we'll touch real quick on the various spin-off games, is that the game plays in real time. Since every system it has been released on has an internal clock and calendar, if you play the game, save it, and then don't play it for 2 weeks, your village, it will be 2 weeks later. You will have missed 2 weeks worth of work to do, and if you stay back even longer than that, you can actually start getting cockroaches in your house, and when you do emerge from it, the villagers will worriedly ask you where you've been. Heck, your lack of presence even encourages some villagers to move out. I've actually messed around with this because while I do love the Animal Crossing games, I tend to reach a point where I have accomplished everything I personally care about accomplishing and will stop playing it daily, only booting it up every once in a grand while just to see what's what and verify my save file is still there, only to find out that most of my villagers have moved out because I haven't been keeping track of things, especially in these last 2 games where you are appointed mayor. Your villagers kind of take it personally when the mayor disappears for weeks, if not months at a time. Now, the good side of this is, as I said before, there are holiday-linked events. Now, the same event will occur year after year if you do play the game for multiple years at a time. The Christmas event in any given game will always be the same and always give out the same items. So if you do not collect all of the holiday event-linked items on a given day, you can always finish your collection next year. One of the more amusing ones is, honestly, despite how much I love Halloween, the trick-or-treating thing is kind of awkward in some of the games because, well, there are tricks to go along with those treats. I honestly find the 4th of July one fun. I mean, the fireworks display is one of the highlights of the game's visual appeal, although there is something to also be said for the Easter holiday, in which you meet a rabbit who swears, despite the fact that his name is Zipper and he has a literal zipper on his back, that he is not somebody in a costume, but the actual Easter Bunny. That sounds sus. That sounds so sus, it should be a plot point of Among Us. Yes, I totally just pandered to modern gaming fads here with an Among Us reference. I get one of those every grand often. Bear with me. Now, it should be noted, besides the iconic characters I mentioned earlier, such as my good buddy KK Slider. Such a good doggo. And I do love his songs. Because the fun part of his songs is they cover, like, every genre there is. Like, he has KK Metal, KK Folk, KK Blues. He has, like, Hawaiian. Very, very musician. Good doggo. But in the last 2 games, we have got the character of the mayor's assistant, Isabel, who is a lovely little yellow doggy. I do not have an amiibo for Isabel. However, let me see if she's actually based off any kind of specific species of doggo. Okay, she's a golden color Shih Tzu. I'm really trying to say that without sounding like I'm saying a profane term. But you know the dog I'm talking about if you know your dogs. Shih Tzu. And was originally named Shizui in Japanese. And serves as, we said before, the assistant in your mayoral activities, helping you keep track of what you can do and what you should be doing as mayor to grow your village in the best way possible. And she does it all with a friendly, charming smile and an always positive demeanor no matter how much work there is to do in town. The fact that before New Horizons came out with only 1 game under her belt, Isabel quickly became one of the most iconic characters of the series speaks of how well she was designed and scripted. Although personally, I always kind of had my heart set on Gulliver. See, buddy KK is not the only character that wanders into your village when he feels like it, instead of being a permanent resident. Besides the holiday event characters, there are also characters who show up randomly, although only one will show up at a time and they will not show up when KK Slider is there. These present you the ability to gain other exclusive items. There is Wendell the Walrus, who gives out wallpapers based on his custom art when you feed him a fish. There is the snooty fashion designer Giraffe, who loves to judge your clothing, and if you manage to amuse her, will allow you to purchase some of her high-end clothing. These, of course, are designs that you cannot get any other store available in your village. But, as I said, my personal favorite is Gulliver. Gulliver, named after the classic literary character, is a seagull who has a bad habit of falling off his boat and thus washing ashore. The trauma of the event tends to make him somewhat amnesic, and he seeks your help trying to remember where it was he was trying to go. These locations are based off real world and require just a tiny little bit of geography knowledge. If you guess correctly, he will send you a souvenir from that location the next day. If you guess incorrectly, you do not get your souvenir because you did not help him reach your destination. No souvenir for you. Of course, since these are real cities, the souvenirs are very themselves real, such as replica Eiffel Towers that serve as decoration for your house. I find them fun because, dude, he's a seagull that keeps getting shipwrecked. And more importantly, he's a goof. He's just fun, you know? His dialogue is humorous, often containing bad jokes, such as the infamous dad jokes we all know and groan about, even though we secretly laugh behind our back because we don't want our dad to know he's actually funny. But come on, sometimes a dad joke's just what you need. Plus, there's just something about, you know, that big yellow beak right under that sailor's hat. The way he just wanders the beach looking so forlorn and confused. You just want to help the guy out. Plus, I was always good at geography, and the hints are super easy as they're designed to let, you know, even young children playing the game figure out where he should be going. So, they're never really that hard. Sadly, I do not have a Gulliver amiibo. Should be said that the Animal Crossing characters have appeared in other Nintendo games. I'll cover that in just a second, because first, let's go ahead and nail the spin-offs. So for the spin-offs, you have Animal Crossing Happy Home Designer, which is for the Nintendo 3DS and was the first spin-off. The game revolves around designing houses for villagers based on their requests, thus focusing the classic Animal Crossing gameplay on that home decorating aspect that, while is central to your time spent as a villager, is, as I said, technically optional, but is one of the ways you can most make your home stand out. Because you can go for the full upgrade, you can stick to the one-room house, you can design it any way you want, you can mix themes. It's very open-ended. However, later in 2015, they would also come out with Animal Crossing Amiibo Festival, which is a party game for the Wii U that heavily utilizes the amiibos. It was generally met with unfavorable review from critics, them comparing it to the much more successful and enjoyed Mario Party. Although personally, I feel that Animal Crossing Amiibo Festival has a lot less luck reliance than Mario Party. There's a lot less of a random element to it. So, you know, if I've got to play a party board game thing, out of the two, I'd probably lean towards Amiibo Festival. But you know, they're both, you know, pretty solid game series. Finally, we have Animal Crossing Pocket Camp from 2017, which was a mobile game. And has generally received favorable reviews. I have not personally played this one. It's the closest in similarity to the main series Animal Crossing playthrough. However, in lieu of the standard village interaction From the main series games, Pocket Camps takes a surprisingly complex look on the villager relationship system, whereas each villager has a specific relationship level that is increased by performing tasks and chatting with them each day. This tends to be things that are more seen especially in the mobile market in things like dating sims, where the idea is you want to do what you can to alter your relationship level with specific characters based on how much you want to have a close relationship with specific characters. Except in Animal Crossing, there's not the romantic undertone to it, because, you know, it's for all ages. Now let's go with a little bit of guest starring roles before we sign off here. In the WiiWare game WarioWare Smooth Moves, released in 2006, there's a minigame that is modeled after Animal Crossing Wild World. Players to catch fish using the same mechanics as the original game. Wii Music features 2 playable songs from Animal Crossing. There's a Animal Crossing Sweet Day minigame from Nintendo Land, where the object of the game is for the Wii Remote players to gather large amounts of candy scattered around the area and store them in their head without getting caught by the gatekeepers, who are controlled using the 2 Wii U gamepad analog sticks. The Smash Bros. Series, starting with the Wii game Smash Bros. Brawl, as well as Smash Bros. For Nintendo 3DS and Wii U, the most awkwardly named Smash Bros. Game in the series, and Smash Bros. Ultimate, has featured elements from Animal Crossing. Smash Bros. Brawl had a stage based on Animal Village called Smashville, which changes its scenery in accordance with the Wii system clock as a reference to the real-world time passing in the mainstream Animal Crossing games, and features a number of songs remixed or extracted from the original game. However, it was in the follow-up games that we got an actual villager character, which can be either the male or the female villager. And additionally, Isabelle appears as an assist trophy and a standalone fighter in Ultimate, as well as more Animal Crossing stages. Finally, the villager, again male or female, depending on your choice, and Isabelle are playable characters in Mario Kart 8 via downloadable content, or are in there to begin with in Animal Kart 8 Deluxe for the Switch. So, there you go. Animal Crossing is all over the place with Nintendo because people love it. People love it because, as I keep saying, it is, you know, probably the best way to do a social simulation series, in that there's a ton of content, but you never feel rushed or punished for not achieving a particular goal. If you don't get an event item when somebody visits your village, you'll catch them on the next go-run. Even if it's the holidays, you know, the same item will be available next year in the same game. You know? If you don't make it out to see KK Slider play, he doesn't take it personally. He doesn't yell at you later for not seeing him perform every week. Do it. Don't do it. Whatever. Expand your house. Don't expand your house. Hang the doggo upside down. Don't hang the doggo upside down. Whatever. Leave the museum completely empty. Oh, man, Blather's kind of sad, but, you know, he's not going to do anything to you. He's not going to start hating you and stalking you at night, threatening to shank you or anything. You do whatever you want to do. It is your life and your choice. As I said, decorate your rooms in one big matching theme in each room. Mix and match themes. You know, table from this theme, wallpaper from that theme. Whatever. It's all your village. Even in the later games where you're mayor, you can make whatever decisions you want as mayor to your village. There's no game over. Even if you leave the game for years at a time, you boot it up, everybody's moved out, you just start playing again, and new folks will move in. Your village will reflourish and return to glory. You can't fail in the game, and any negative consequences that may or may not come up are very quickly swept under the rug and you move on. Because the game is designed to be a relaxing game. It's designed to be stress-free. And that's how we're going to sign off, folks. Because we want you to go into your weekend, because I hope you're watching this on Friday when it debuts, stress-free, relaxed. And remember, no matter what happens in life, you know, as long as you wake up the next day, yeah, you always got a chance to make things go better. Nothing else. Hey, go on YouTube. Go listen to some KK Slider songs. They'll make you feel better. He's got a funny singing voice. Because he's Doggo. And Doggo no speak English perfectly. Wow, 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 wow. Doggo. Wandering musician Doggo. Come back next week for another rambling. I'll be here. Probably not on camera, but I'll be here. Good luck, good health, and enjoy life, just like KK does. Boom, 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 boom.